teaching. Okay, so today is Monday, March 11th, I think, if I've done the math right. Basically, I've had to be out because my lovely daughter gets to have another surgical procedure this morning. And my Ella, she's having what they call a steroid shot, but it's going to be put in her arm. So we get to be at the hospital. Yay. So basically, I'm doing this during lunch class. It's going to be interesting. Basically, you're all going to be given these notes. And the notes are, you're going to start by, right now, filling in the vocabulary. Start out by putting probably your name and the date. I think the date is the 11th. So I'm going to fill that in. Okay. Now, you are going to want to fill in each definition. To be honest, the reason is it's going to help you figure out how to do the math. Okay? So, here I go. You're going to need a calculator eventually. Okay, so here we go. The first word is measure of variation. I'm going to kind of shrink it. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. The measures of variation, they describe the distribution or spread of the data. So the first one's called measures of variation. Okay. Basically, everything below it is a measure of variation. It describes the data that we're looking at. We're going to be finding more, I'll call it averages, even though they're not. Okay. The second word is called quartile. These are the values that divide the data into 4 equal groups. Guys, think about quartile as quarters. And how many quarters are in a dollar? We know there's 4 quarters in a dollar. Well, guess what? There's going to be quartiles in our numbers. We're then going to find something called the lower quartile. Luckily, we get to shorten this to LQ. Lower quartile is the median of the lower numbers. You need more? That's okay. Maurice.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm videoing for Monday. It's okay. Ignore my little discussion. You're fine. Okay, so back on it, we got the median of the lower half of the set of data. So once we find a median, we're actually going to find 2 more medians. We're going to find 2 more middles. One's called the LQ, for lower quartile. The second one is going to be called the upper quartile, or the UQ. And it's going to be kind of like the median of the upper half of the set of data. Okay. We're then going to find something called the interquartile range. Luckily, we shortened this one to something called the IQR. It's kind of weird, but it's going to be the difference, meaning subtraction, of the upper quartile and the lower quartile. If you'll notice right here, it basically means that we're going to take the UQ and subtract the LQ. Literally take it away. Okay. The 50% of the spread is kind of the 50% of your data. We'll talk more about that the next day on Tuesday. Okay. We're back at range again. I know we've done range, but honestly, it is a measure of variation. And once again, the difference between the greatest and the least values in a set of data. And the last one is outlier. Outlier is kind of like it sounds, something that sticks out from all the other data. It may be much higher, it might be much lower than all the other sets of data. You can use a mathematical math problem to figure out an exact outlier. We're just going to make sure that when we're doing it in 6th grade that if you have all numbers in the 50s and you see like a number 250, that 250 is an outlier. it doesn't fit in with your other numbers. Okay, so here you may pause it if they are still writing vocab. And now we are going to start working on some examples. The examples are starting with this one. It says wind speed. Okay, and on this example, I can get a little clearer maybe. Maybe it's my eyeballs, who knows. Okay, it is the average, or it says number 1, wind speed. The average wind speeds for several cities in Pennsylvania are given in the table. It's going to want us to find the range, find the median and the lower and upper quartiles, find the interquartile range, which was IQR, and then identify any outliers. Now, this is our information. These are our numbers. You're going to want to start by first putting them in order from least to greatest. 1 second. Hopefully I can find it. Let me make sure. Okay. So, I have gone ahead and put number 1 in order from least to greatest. You're going to want to copy this down. Pause the video if need be. Okay. You are going to want to write every time whatever they're asking for. This one was asking for the range was honestly letter A. If you want to call it letter A. Letter B was the median, the lower quartile, and the upper quartile. C is this interquartile range, and D were any outliers. So there's a reason I have all that. Okay. Now, we've already done some of this. This is like range. Here we go. We know that the range should be the largest minus the smallest. Okay, so if I literally take 11 and I subtract 7.5, my range is 3.5. So that is 3.5 for the range. You should be writing this down with me. Okay, median. Now I'm going to start writing on this. You might want to leave a little space. Okay. If I start with my median and I go in trying to find my median, just like last week, my median is 8.9. That is my median. Down here I'm just going to list 8.9. Now, this is where last week some of you didn't want to make the list of numbers. You have to. Without it, you can't do LQ and UQ. You probably didn't find the right median if you didn't list the numbers. Okay, lower quartile. What it means is literally what is the middle of everything below the median. So, if I am looking at everything that is lower than the median, my LQ, like what is the median of the bottom numbers? It is 7.6. That is my LQ. My lower quartile. It is 7.6. Okay. You're probably seeing that if that's the lower quartile, I bet you can figure out the upper quartile. The upper quartile is the upper numbers. Past the median, everything past the median, and going in the median of those numbers. There it is. That is my upper quartile, upper numbers. It is 9.5. Okay. Now, the next one looks scary, interquartile range, but it is not hard. The definition says it is the UQ minus the LQ. Well, you've already labeled. Your UQ is 9.5. We are subtracting because it is a range. We always subtract with range. So we're going to subtract 7.6, the LQ. Putting that in my calculator, I'm literally doing 9.5 minus 7.6, and I get 1.9. That means my interquartile range, or IQR, is 1.9. Okay, outliers. You're kind of taking these numbers and looking from 7.5 all the way to 11. And figuring out, like, these are a bunch of 7s. They all go together. Got an 8, here's some 9s and an 11. But there's nothing like 50. There's nothing like 100. So this one has no outliers. Everything's kind of together in its order. Nothing's sticking out past the other. And don't put 0, just put no outliers or none. Okay. You can also have an outlier way down on the bottom. So let's say you had negative 20. Well, that would be an outlier because it doesn't really make sense in your data. So you have just conquered finding some measures of variation. Okay. Kind of takes a long time. I won't lie. Number 2 on the back. You will flip it over. This is what number 2 says. It says the heights of several types of palm trees in feet are 40, 25, 15, 22, 50, and 30. The heights of several types of pine trees in feet are 60, 75, 45, 80, 75, and 70. Compare and contrast the measures of variation of both kinds of trees. Ooh, okay. So there's 2 sets here. We got to do everything we just did on each set of data. Now, to be honest, I have already kind of started number 2. Okay. Start by, I would probably write it down kind of like me. Doesn't have to be, but 1 second. Okay. Make sure you get all the numbers. You got them all nice and neat. And this is a 22. You can tell I kind of forgot. I had to put that in there. And label them to pine. Okay. Then write leave some space because we're going to put words under here or letters. Then put range, median. You can now shorten it to LQ, UQ, IQR. And outliers. We need all this listed. Full words on these. You can put the initials for those. Full words. And here we go. So, starting out, they want a range. So, 50 minus 15 is 35 for that set, for that palm tree. Okay. Median. If I take my outside numbers and start going in, there are 2 medians on this one. So, I have got to add them together, which is 25 plus 30. Which is 55, divide by 2, which is 27.5. That is my median. Now, when thinking about this median and where to put it up here, I need you to realize that median is not 25 or 30. It honestly goes right here, and I usually write it 27.5, and I write median because it is in the middle of those. That's going to change how you do the LQ and the UQ. Okay. Now, looking for the LQ. The LQ is everything to the left of the median. Now, you've got to look at what I'm doing right here. You include that 25 when going over. It is not the median, so you use that number all the way over. Find the middle of them. Yes, 22 is your LQ. Okay, looking for UQ now. Since that's my median, I can use 30 in it, going all the way down to 50. UQ is 40. Okay, IQR. Officially, it is my UQ minus my LQ, because it is a range, we're going to subtract. And 40 minus 22, I hate to guess, I thought it was 18, but I wasn't sure. Okay. Now, looking at my numbers for an outlier, it starts at 15 and goes to 22. Those are real close. 40 to 50, honestly, 30 to 40. That's 10 apart. That's 10 apart. There's no outlier on this palm tree. They're all about the same. So there's no outlier. You can put none or no outlier. Okay. And I'm going to pause it here and kind of let you catch up. And then we'll do the pine tree in just a little bit. Well, whenever you hit play again. So now we are going to work on the pine tree. The pine tree numbers, here we go. They first want the range. So the range would be 80 minus 45. Double checking my math because I'm thinking it's 35, but making sure. Yes. Okay, 35. Everybody good? Okay, median. Going in, we got the median. There are two medians again. So we got to add them together. 70 plus 75. And divide by 2, which is 72.5. Okay, now, since my median is 72.5, that means that median is in between there. 72.5. Meaning it is not 70 or 75. It is in between it. So, my LQ, I'm building it on everything to the left because it's the lower quartile of the median. So, 70 is included all the way to 45. 60 is the LQ because it is the median of the lower numbers. Please stop now. Y'all know what's working here. The UQ is the median of the upper numbers. So it's keeping that 75 in the list. It would be officially that 75. Okay. My IQR is my UQ, take away my LQ. So 75 minus 60 is 15. And then my outliers. It starts at 45, goes to 60, 70, 70, 70, 80. You could probably say 45 is an outlier, but it's not that far away. I would say an outlier for this one would be if something said 200 or like 120. It needs to be way far away. Okay. Now, what I will do is we will be talking more about this tomorrow, what these numbers mean. For right now, I just want to be able to get these numbers successfully. Okay. Now, the other part of the notes says number 3 and 4, which is not too bad. This is where we are finally talking about outliers, looking at these numbers. Please stop, guys. There's a few of you in here. Stop. Please stop. Thank you. Okay, the lengths and feet of various bridges. Look at all these numbers. Name any outliers in the data set. We're doing the same thing on this one. Now, what you want to do when looking for an outlier, even if that's your only question, most likely is put them in order from least to greatest. It will help you figure out if there is a number that is kind of sticking out from the rest of them. Okay, so looking at number 3 here, I've written out all my numbers. It starts out with an 88, goes to 251, and then same thing on this end, 300s, but then there's an 1121. Definitely 1121 or 1121. And I would say maybe 88. That one's kind of close, but honestly, I think I'm going to call it 88 and 1121. Definitely that one. Okay, the ones we do on tests and stuff will be very obvious. Okay, the next one. Starting out with a 23 and going to 48. But then there's 48, 40s, then there's 50s, there's 60s, there's 70s. I would say 23 would be the outlier. Okay. Outliers are going to skew your data. It's going to change it up. Okay. It's kind of like when you have a bunch of test grades and one kid makes a 25 on a test. It brings down that class average. So we have to kind of take into consideration everybody's grades. Okay. So now we've made it through the notes and you've got some time left to be working on your homework. Your homework is going to be to find what they ask here on this worksheet. Okay, so they give you a list. You're going to have to find the range, the median, the LQ, the UQ, interquartile range, and outliers of this data. Okay, same thing here. Read the question. It tells you exactly what to find. On the back, there's one more. On this one, you're basically going to have to do the same thing as the front, but you're going to have to do it for the week 1, get all those, and then the week 2, get all those. Okay. You may now start your homework. I would, if it's going to take you, what happened with me right here, I need more space. So I'm going to get out notebook paper and kind of spread it apart. That should help me keep it organized. Okay. So, get out some notebook paper. And I am going to start this first one with you if you've got time. Just matters how long it has taken y'all to kind of get started today. Okay, so here is number 1. Okay, so step 1 is getting all these numbers in order from least to greatest. You can kind of tell. I had to do it. I went ahead and did it right here, but I put little marks. Since you have the paper, you can cross them out. Okay, you want to do this kind of neat. Making sure you don't miss a number, don't skip a number, don't write a number wrong, because it can change a lot of your answers. Okay, so I took all these and I've put them in order from least to greatest. Okay, I'm going to scoot this kind of up now. Okay, the first thing this homework wants is letter A is the range. Okay, the range is the largest number minus the smallest number. So, taking my calculator, I got 1,028. Okay, letter B, they want the median, the LQ, and the UQ. Yes, you have to write these words, median, LQ, and UQ. That's all part of B. So, y'all can watch. I'm just sitting here going in. And there are two medians again. That means I have to add them together and divide by 2. So my median is 923.5. You can sit now, lunch class that is watching me video. I will start the video back in just a second. Okay, so I am now going to finish. I was on number 1 here before my group had to leave from the homework, and I am now going to finish it up. So, we were working on, and this is for Monday, we were working on finding the range, which was 1028, finding the median, which for the median, one second. Okay, I took two numbers, 893 and 954. Just like, you know, what you did last week, you're going to add them together and divide by 2. That makes the median officially right here in the middle. And the median is 923.5. Now, to find the LQ and the UQ. The LQ is going to be from the median all the way to the lowest number. That makes 513 the LQ because it is the median of the bottom numbers. Okay, the UQ is from the median to the biggest number, making 1,038 the UQ. Now, the last question, if there was another one, I can't remember. Yeah, C. Find the interquartile range. The interquartile range is going to be the UQ minus the LQ. So, if I do 1,038 minus 513, barring this real quick, please stop talking, guys, for just a second. I get 525 as my interquartile range, IQR. And then the last thing they're wondering is the, I think, outliers. Yeah, the outliers of the data. So, if it starts at 400, We got a bunch of 400s, 5, 6, 800, 900, 1,000. That's still pretty close. So I'm going to say there's no outlier on this one because nothing is out a lot further than the rest. Now, your homework is to finish this assignment. You're going to finish with number 2 here. And I went ahead and put them in order, but I really needed notebook paper. And then number 3. And on number 3, you got to do both sets of all this, the IQR, the LQ, the UQ, range, and all of it. Okay? Thank you. Have it finished by tomorrow. Have it finished. Thank you.